This week, we are joined by Kyle Doles as we discuss fall color in Indiana. You are listening to the LAKESCAPE Photography Podcast. This week, we are taking a ride to the Hoosier State as landscape and wildlife photographer Kyle Doles joins us for a fantastic discussion on some of Indiana's best kept secrets. Our first guest from Indiana, he goes into the Little Smokies in the south, the incredible wildlife opportunities right outside Indianapolis, all the way north to the shorelines of Lake Michigan. Kyle shares his experience as a landscape photographer exploring the very best areas that Indiana offers. I really enjoyed this discussion, and I hope you guys do too. Kyle shares a lot of advice on getting out there and making the most of fall colors and really any photography adventure, and some of his favorite places in the state. Make sure that you check out his links in the show notes below, give him a follow as you enjoy this week's discussion with Kyle Doles.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, like you said, I'm Kyle. I'm based out of Indianapolis. Happy to be here, man. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on the show, man. I really appreciate it. Like I said, first guest from Indiana. We were talking a little bit before the show here about all the cool places that Indiana has. There are so many hidden gems and just lots of really cool stuff. What got you started in landscape photography? Was it all the little hidden areas in Indiana there?
My start came a little different. I ended up on looking through Pinterest and was seeing some really cool photos of people taking models, and the models were levitating like in the middle of the street, and they were doing trick photography, and I got really fascinated by the tricks, wanting to know how they did it. So I started doing some research and figured out it was all Photoshop. And I was like, man, I can do that. So I wanted to give it a shot, got myself a camera back in 2017 and quickly figured that out. And I'm a pretty outdoorsy guy. So I started taking my camera with me pretty much everywhere I went. And one thing led to another. And here we are, 2025. I haven't put it down.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, though. It's like that photography bug gets you. And then before you know it, you're out there all the time in pursuit of new things, new places, new experiences. And Indiana's got some great spots. I mean, especially as we come into fall with the color change, I've seen a ton of great images come out of Indiana on the shoreline, the covered bridges, there's waterfalls, there's all kinds of stuff that is just beautiful there. How would you describe Indiana's fall color compared to other states in the Midwest, or what makes the season so special there in Indiana?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been out to a whole lot of other states during the fall time. I'll venture up into southern Michigan and all over Indiana and mostly northern Kentucky. So that's really where my experience lies. But to say what makes us different is I don't think there is a whole lot other than our landscape. All the states have something really unique to offer. And I think Indiana is beautiful. People call it a flyover state, but we have access to the lake. We have the Little Smokies down in Brown County. So we got some small mountains here. We got some really cool stuff in the southern part of the state where you got Hoosier National Forest and lots of rock formations, like you said, waterfalls. I can't get enough. I love it here.
Yeah. Looking at your work and the images that you share, we were talking before the start of the episode, and it was 8-9 months ago. I came across your work when I was on Facebook, and I was like, wow, that's in Indiana. That's really cool. And I started looking through it, and I was like, wow, look at all this stuff that's right next to me here in Illinois. And to your point, there's just all kinds of stuff to go explore, to go shoot. I, for one, go to the Indiana Dunes a lot, which I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, or the year before, became a national park. So that's really cool. And then I actually didn't know about the Little Smokies down at the southern end of the state. I'm going to have to check that out.
Well, that'd be in Brown County. That's kind of the mecca that everybody goes to go see in Brown County. So that'd be, I don't know, about an hour south of Indianapolis, 40 minutes to an hour. And they have a lot of overlooks at Brown County State Park. And it does, man. It looks like just like the Smoky Mountains. You get there early in the morning or later in the evening, and it's all covered with mist out there. And it is beautiful. But in the fall time, be prepared. Everybody goes. Um, there's no parking. It's so beautiful. I try to avoid that area, to be honest with you. I'm looking for a little less people out there, but yeah, that's definitely a hot spot to see if you've never been there.
Yeah, I'll have to add that to my list of places to check out. And yeah, I mean, fall color, it attracts people from all over the place. And, you know, you see it here in Illinois at Starved Rock and Matheson State Park. You know, everybody knows I go to the Upper Peninsula, and that's become progressively more and more busy over the years. So, you know, planning out those trips and making sure that, you know, you're prepared for crowds, definitely an aspect of it. And I'm very much so like you, man, where when I go out to experience fall, it's not that I don't like people, it's that I kind of want to have that personalized experience where I'm not where the crowds are, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I'm shooting solo like 99% of the time, and uh, when I'm looking for places to go, I'm checking boxes that other people don't go. That's probably what makes a lot of my shots unique and different, that most people haven't seen them. But yeah, I am. I'm not a fan of the big crowds, but you also can learn techniques like ultra long exposures that you get into a couple minutes. If the clouds and stuff are steady enough, that the people just disappear.
Yeah.
So there are ways around the crowds.
Oh yeah. I'm guilty of that. I've definitely done that where I'm at a popular place and I know, hey, there's going to be people all over my shot if I just shoot a normal exposure. So I'll take one shot for like the sky or whatever if the sky is really lighting up, and then I'll do a really long exposure to blur people or just have them removed from the frame entirely. Sometimes you can just rely on the remove tool in Photoshop to get people out or what have you. Definitely same exact approach.
Yeah, yeah. And this is something I've grown to appreciate more probably in this last year. I used to make sure every single person was out of the photo. I wanted it to look deserted and like I was the only one there, like it was something super special. But I have noticed that every once in a while, having one person in there, man, it just tells a good story. And that's something I've been trying to incorporate, is more of telling the story than just, making a piece of art. It's been a lot of fun experimenting with the new ideas.
It's neat to get a person in the shot too, to add that sense of scale, especially at like waterfalls, overlooks, because when we're shooting these things super wide, or maybe not even super wide, but just relatively wide, 24 millimeters or higher or whatever, you get the feel for the location, but maybe that scale doesn't convey well as opposed to, like you said, including a person. And that's a really good approach and something that I've actually seen a lot more of recently on Instagram, Facebook, what have you, where people are starting to do that to incorporate that scale piece.
Mine started mostly by accident. And I've been places trying to be the only one there and take the photo with nobody in it. And a good example, just a couple of weeks ago, I was at Spring Mill State Park down in southern Indiana. They have a stone bridge there built by the Civilian Conservation Corps. And I was down there to photograph the bridge and get the pretty reflection below it. And man, it was a 2 hour drive to get down there. I'm there at 7 in the morning. It's still foggy. It's beautiful. The sun's coming up. I hike all the way to the spot, get my camera set up, and here comes a guy walking across the bridge. And man, I'm mumbling under my breath, hoping he just keeps on walking. And he ends up sitting cross legged on the bridge, pulls out a fishing pole, and casts a line in the water. And it has been one of my most favorite images that I've taken this year so far.
That sounds beautiful. We're going to have to link that in the show notes. I definitely want to check that out and let the listeners get a glimpse of that too. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it turned out to be a really special shot. And when I was done, I hiked all the way back to the car and I tried to get back and find the guy because I like to give the people a copy of the image, that they're in, and they were already gone. I missed it. So I put it out there on my social media that if anybody knew the guy, to please have him get a hold of me. I'd like to send him a print.
Yeah. Yeah. And hey, if anybody listening, if that's you or if you know that person, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'd love to get in touch with the gentleman and get him a picture.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. That would be fantastic. As far as color progression across the state, where in Indiana do you typically see colors start to pop first? And how does it progress through the state from there?
Well, I think it's going to be pretty much just like all the states out there. It's going to start where it gets colder first. So we're looking up north, and the way I see my calendar is I have set, and it's here in about a week or so with the monarch butterfly migration is going to start here real soon, and they stop in northern Indiana at Kankakee Sands, and that's been a go-to spot for me. And that's kind of the beginning of my fall photography, is going up to Kankakee Sands and photographing all the monarch butterflies as they migrate uh, down through Indiana on their way south to Mexico. But then after that, man, I kind of just follow the color down as it comes. You only get about 2 to 3 weeks, and you got to make the most of it. I don't have a whole lot of time to get out there. So Eagle Creek Park here in Indianapolis is a really special place for me, and it's my go-to. And I spend all my time there during the peak color. And then once that is done, then I'll start moving my way south and heading down. There's a bunch of pretty spots. I mean, gosh, you can't go wrong. We talked earlier, Turkey Run, Shades. I mean, any number of nature preserves that you can hit on your way down. Brown County, Ferdinand is a beautiful little spot with a huge church. And St. Meanrod is just a few miles south of that with another big church. It's all pretty. And then, man, just work your way on down to Madison and go along the river. It's been a couple years ago, in the last week of October, I did a whole trip along the Ohio River Scenic Byway, just driving from Madison all the way to, I ended up at Garden of the Gods in Illinois. It was just, it's out there. You just got to go chase it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool that you chase it like that too, because, fellow photographers and I have kind of said similar things where if you stay in one spot, yeah, you've got that like 2 week window where colors are just amazing, but you can really stretch the season and make it last if you chase after it. Like, in just a few weeks here, 2 weeks. I'll be going up to the Upper Peninsula, and every year that's what I do. I start in the Upper Peninsula, I move down into Wisconsin, and then I move into Illinois, and kind of chase it through that latitude, if you will, of between Illinois, Indiana. Haven't made it to Garden of the Gods yet, but it is on my to-do list for this season, and I'm excited to do the same, man. I'm really happy you brought that up, because yeah, you can really stretch it. And, you've got, like you said, you went to the Ohio, it was the Ohio Scenic River Byway.
Yep, the Ohio River Scenic Byway. Yes.
Yeah, you went to the Ohio River Scenic Byway, you chased it down. Dude, that sounds like a perfect way to spend October.
Yeah, I mean it was only a 5-day trip, man. It's not much. You take a Thursday, Friday, and Monday off work, and just go. Um, I'm surprised at how many people are afraid to drive further than an hour or two away from their house, and it's shocking and it's kind of sad. They're missing so much. The last week of October last year, I was at Falling Water, the Frank Lloyd Wright House out in Pennsylvania, and then I looped down to Babcock State Park in West Virginia and ended up at Red River Gorge in Kentucky before coming on home. I mean, and I did all that in a week. It's People can do it. You just gotta, get some get some gas money put together.
Yeah, yeah. Save up those points all year for whenever you go to the pump. It's like 5 cents off per gallon,
That's
whatever, with your
right.
phone number. Before you know it,
Yep.
you'll be paying 10 cents a gallon for gas. You save it long enough.
And hey, you got to do what you got to do. A landscape photographer, you do a lot of driving.
Oh yeah, that's without a doubt a huge part of the experience that I think is maybe not realized or lost on some people up front when they're first getting into photography. They're like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna hit all these landscapes nearby," but then your inspiration starts expanding, and before you know it, you're 3 states away. You're like, "How did I get here? Who cares?
Yep.
It's beautiful."
Yep. You're right. You're absolutely right. And man, Nick, the great thing is you discover so much on the way. I mean, gosh, almost half of my photos aren't from the destination. It's from places along the way to get there. And it makes it so much more fun.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And that's something that I've always alluded to myself is the drive doesn't have to be just A to B. You can make stops in between. You can check things out. I mean, and there's countless other things to do too. Like I always stop and try different restaurants. I'll scout an area if I think, hey, there could be something cool over here. And it's part of, again, going back to what we talked about before we started recording, is that seeking and discovering and the adventure of finding things that draws that excitement out, and it's translated in your images.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't have said it any better. There was a down by Lake Monroe, which is down by Bloomington. I had seen a photo once of this old stone cabin out in the woods, and nobody would tell where it was. And I hunted and hunted and Google Maps and more Google Maps and more Google Maps and Googling the history of it. And finally, it took, gosh, 2 months of driving around, looking for it, trying to find trails, talking to people. And I finally found the doggone thing. And it was like Christmas, man. I was so excited to see that when I came around the corner. Yeah, it's the thrill of the chase is definitely one of the main things that keeps me going. I love it. It's almost like a storm chaser, just with, without being worried of getting hurt.
Right. Yeah. You at least you hope, no there's no injuries or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
no good. Well, knock on wood. So far, so
yeah,
good.
yeah. I think we've all been there where it's like a rite of passage. Eventually you twist your ankle or something.
No,
It's
yeah, but
you
it's
know,
not like we've fallen down a cave or anything.
yeah, or getting blasted off the highway by a tornado. We want to avoid that.
Yes,
So
please. Yep,
yeah.
most definitely.
But yeah, I mean, it's the desktop recon, the seeing an image, saying, "Hey, that looks like a beautiful place," and then taking the time to learn about it and figure out its history, figure out what makes this place special? Because then when you go there and you know the history, you know, hey, maybe this place used to be used for logging. Maybe it was used as a transport hub. Maybe it was just a virgin forest that was left alone and protected over the years. You can use that information to tell that story, and you have a better appreciation for it than just, going to somebody, hey, give me these coordinates because I want to go and take the same shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find I love shooting older abandoned, old abandoned barns, old abandoned buildings with a beautiful landscape in the back. And in those, I'm a member of several abandoned groups on the Facebook, and you're not allowed to give location. If you do give a location or even ask for it, you're banned immediately. And I like that, you know, but that it's even more fuel to the fire to go find it. And man, I love it. It's so exciting.
It is. And it's a part of protecting the things that we love all the same too, because, you know, I've gotten flack for it on social media where people are like, "Oh, well, you're not giving the location, so this must be AI, or you're gatekeeping, or you're doing this, that, or the other." No, the information's out there. You just got to put forth the effort, and you can find 98% of places just by putting forth that effort, especially with fall, because everybody wants that epic fall scene with brilliant peak color of a barn or, a grain mill or an overlook or a waterfall or whatever. Yeah, that place is beautiful, but my appreciation and my research led me to this. If it means that much to you, kind of, not to sound like a jerk, but kind of go and put the
Yeah,
effort forth and you can find it too.
yeah. And when they do, they'll appreciate it a lot more.
Right. Exactly. It's not just copy paste. It's, hey, I went out here, I found this. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, a good example is, we have the Covered Bridge Festival down in Park County every year, and that's coming up pretty soon. Don't go because it's just packed full of people. But, I go down there and there's 30 some covered bridges in one county, and people are just, where'd you find this? Where'd you find this? Where'd you find this? Like, gosh, they give away free maps. Like, go to the visitor center. It's free, That's all I did. I don't not waving a magic wand out here like making these bridges appear. It's like you can do it too. You got to get up at 5 in the morning with the pretty light, and you got to go. Most people don't like getting up early. I love it.
a good cup of coffee at sunrise as you're all set up and waiting for that perfect light, especially in the fall. It doesn't
Yep,
get much better than that.
nothing beats it, man. It's the
No.
best.
Yeah, that cool breeze, the rustling of the leaves, you have that autumn smell in the air, and you just
Yep,
know, like, this is it. I made it. I'm here.
yep,
The best time to be a photographer, in my opinion, is
yep.
fall on those mornings.
100%. 100%. It's got the fog rolling off of the water and the mist coming off of the waterfalls. It's just nothing beats it, man.
No, no, not at all. No. And there are all kinds of approaches and styles and different ways to shoot fall color. And I've shared some of mine on the podcast. Other guests have shared different approaches that they utilize. Do you have a strategy for planning out your fall shots or any particular things that you're looking for when you're thinking about places you're going to go?
I go back and look through my gallery, and everything's date stamped, obviously, so you can go back and I will see where I was at a particular time and date over the last several years. And if there's something that's really good, I'm going back. If there's something I know is there that I didn't get, I'm going back. But I have my, just like everybody else, we have our favorite spots. And that's where you're going to find me. The last week of October, I'm going to be at Eagle Creek Park. There's hands down, no question, I will be there almost every single day. and I'll be out by Lily Lake and I'll be looking for the owls. I mean, I love finding owls with the pretty fall colors and the reflections in the water. I know this is more of a landscape podcast, but I do love having, some sort of subject with the beautiful landscape in the background. That's the way I love to do it.
Yeah. And, I've always thought wildlife is just as much a part of the landscape as anything else. And, a few of my friends, they shoot wildlife and chase, all the creatures of the forest. And I will be the first to admit I don't have the patience to sit down and like wait for a specific bird or something to show up. I've always tried to get a shot of an owl myself, but for some reason I can never find owls.
Well, the favorite shot I've ever taken in my life was of a barred owl. His name is Shakespeare, and he lives in Eagle Creek Park. And I got really, really lucky a couple years ago and got him with all the fall colors in the background, and that kind of lit my fire around fall. So I'm always on the lookout. And but here's a little tip for finding wildlife, and especially for you or anybody else listening, is that cemeteries, especially large ones and in the city, are protected. There's no hunting. So deer are prevalent in there. You get owls that are prevalent in there. Everything it's like a nature sanctuary in these large cemeteries. And I've had a lot of good luck over in there over the last several years.
Good to know. I've never thought of that, but it makes sense that yeah, a quiet place that's protected would be ideal to seek that out.
Yeah, there's no hunting. There's more times than not, there's a forest in the middle of it. So it's just that's where I go for all my deer. Without question, I'm at a cemetery every fall looking for deer, and 9 times out of 10 they deliver.
Wow. I'm gonna have to try my luck this year, see what I can do.
Yep, there's a big one right here in downtown Indy called Crown Hill Cemetery, and there's one in Louisville, I believe. Can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. It's Cave Cave something down in Louisville, but I know they have a lot of wildlife down there. I haven't been there yet, but it's on my short list of places to visit, and I will be there this year.
Uh, Looking forward to seeing the pictures, and we're gonna have to link the Shakespeare the barn owl picture in the show notes too, so people can check that out. Because I've always loved a good wildlife picture with fall color, and especially if you could blur that background and you can really isolate them, but they have all that color behind them. Maybe some backlighting. Now, see,
Uh,
now I'm getting ahead of myself.
I tell you, Nick, every time I enter that picture into anywhere, it wins everything wherever it goes. So I kind of worn it out by now. So it is still my all-time favorite.
Hey, a good shot is a good shot. That's what matters, right?
Yep.
No. As far as the equipment goes, you
Yes.
know, are there specific lenses, filters, or techniques or anything that you specifically utilize in fall?
Yes. Yes. Without a doubt. I shoot strictly with Olympus cameras. Um, I've only ever had two. I started with an Olympus EM5 Mark II, and which is kind of like their mid grade. And I think it was 2 years later I moved up to their pro camera, the EM1 Mark III, and that has built-in live composite, so I can do composite images in camera. It has built-in computational features like ND filters are just built in. I don't have to carry them with me anymore. So I can do long exposures without any other equipment. With the in-body stabilization and the stabilization in the lens, I'm getting 7.5 stops of image stabilization. So I really don't need to take a tripod with me very often when I go. The one thing I do add on in the fall is I'll throw on a polarizer to cut glare in the water and get those colors to pop a little bit more. But that's really there's no really tricks up my sleeve, man. Just my hat is off to Olympus for making great cameras, and it's weather sealed. So I don't even think about it taking it out in the pouring rain or the snow or getting wet or setting it in some water. It's I don't have to worry about it. So it lets me focus a lot more on the images and not have to worry about my gear.
Yeah, that's huge. Is not having that worry piece of, oh, it's raining, because we all know it's the Great Lakes region. It's going to rain in October. There's no way around it. And usually I've noticed, like, you'll get at the it's always at least one period of the month of October where it's going to be dry and maybe a little bit unseasonably warm, and then all of a sudden it just starts pouring rain for like 3 4 days straight. And it's like, okay, well, this sucks. But yeah, very similar, having a weather sealed body and equipment, or having a rain sleeve if you don't have a weathered seal body, just making sure you don't have to worry about that and you can just focus on the creative aspect. That's huge. And circular polarizing filter, to go back to that real quick too, you know, that I think is, like you said, it's not a secret. Like, they're out there. Everybody knows about them. But you can do a lot of really cool stuff with one. Like, you can introduce a ton of contrast. You can cut it back a little bit to where, you can show a little bit of depth. And the most important thing is exactly what you touched on. You can make those colors really, really pop with a circular polarizer, more so than any other filter. I mean, yeah, ND filters are great for long exposures and water and movement, energy, but that circular polarizer is paramount, I think.
Yeah, and a trick there, when I get the polarizer, I will take it itself and go somewhere where there's water with reflections, and I will turn it till the reflections are gone. Then I'll sit there with a paint pen or some whiteout and mark it, because they don't have markings on them to tell it what strength you're at. So I'll find what I like and I will mark it with some white paint. Man, just one more thing. You don't have to think about it. You put it on, you twist it till the marks line up and go.
That's a really good little little life hack there that I've never thought about before, where yeah, I mean, as long as you're 90 degrees to the sun, your marks are always going to align. Well, I shouldn't say align, but your marks are always going to give you an indication of, hey, if I want to be full polarized, I go here. If I want to be half, I go there. Takes the guesswork out of it, keeps you shooting. You just know. That's really
Yep.
cool.
It's just, man, throw it on there and run and gun, man. It's the name of the game. Just quick, fast, easy. And the more you don't have to think about it, the more you can focus on composition and really letting your creative end out when you don't have to worry about the specifics of anything.
Right. That's very well said. Is that creativity, it needs to lead you out in the field. You can't be worried about gear. You can't be worried about, like we talked about, your camera getting wet. You got to be comfortable. You got to have, the right clothes and everything. And the more things you can do to push your creativity and just focus in on it, I think it's going to make your images that much better. As far as creative approaches and, personal stories that came from focusing only on your creativity, do you have a favorite fall image? I know you mentioned Shakespeare the Owl. You've kind of been in touched on a few different images. Do you have an all-time favorite?
It'd have to be Shakespeare. There was when I was first getting started, I was about ready to hang it up, man. I couldn't get the hang of it. I wasn't doing anything that really knocked my socks off. And I was out on the river one morning at the White River. It's at just a local park. And the The leaves were starting to change. There was a mist coming up off the river, and a buck walked out and tried to swim across the river, and he couldn't make it. Um, I got an image of him, um, and it was just that's what started the whole thing. That's what kept me going, and I loved that picture. I loved it very much until I ended up getting my new EM1 Mark III and the new 12-100 F4 Pro, and I took it to Eagle Creek Park one day and I saw Shakespeare, and man, it's that's I set the bar really high on that one. That's been my all-time favorite. There was a third image I got at the Crown Hill Cemetery, and a buck walked out. He was a big monster buck, and he just had that perfect stance and looked right over at me, and I shot him with the fall colors in the background. So that was probably those are my top three, but Shakespeare takes the cake for me.
Yeah, it always seems like at some point in your adventure, in your journey as a photographer, there's going to be that moment where you shoot an image and you just know, like you said, like you know this is my best shot ever. And then you you try to top it, but it's just nothing else compares. And it always seems to happen at fall.
Yep, I agree 100%. I have several people have looked through my gallery of images, and they'll find other ones in the fall that they like. And yeah, the Shakespeare picture is up there, but there's other ones. Oh, I love this, or I love that, love this, love that, and they don't do it for me. They don't tickle my fancy. But other people they just love them. But the ones with the animals in them for me, just like I said, it tells the story, and it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, it's almost like whenever I've seen a wildlife image where you have an animal in its natural landscape, its natural habitat, I almost feel like those images can sometimes tell the story best because not only is it like, hey, look at this beautiful area, but look at what lives here. And you can kind of deduce the story, and it allows you to kind of transport yourself there and think, hey, this is what it must be walking through this beautiful autumn scene. Maybe there's a buck over here, or maybe there's an owl that I can hear in the distance. And it invites the viewer to experience exactly what you were experiencing at the same time. And I think that's one of the coolest things about photography.
That absolutely 100%. And another thing, I have a couple thousand followers, and just one of the neat things I hear over and over and over again is that, especially the older generation of people that just can't get out anymore, and they always tell me, they're like, "Man, we're there with you in spirit. We're riding along. Thanks for taking us." And it's just neat to have that in the back of your head that you're seeing something that nobody else really gets to see, and it is so special. But then again, you get to share it, and everybody was just transported right there with you, and it's just really special being able to read all the comments from people and just thanking you for taking the time to not only be out there, but to share with the rest of the community. It's been really really neat and very welcoming. All the responses I've gotten from the photos.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's the relationships that you build with, people who are initially strangers and you may not have ever met them in person or in real life, but you build a relationship and you share your experiences, and the fact that other people relate and appreciate it. I agree. It's one of the best parts. You can't beat it.
And and we're all guilty of this when you get started and you measure your success in likes and posts and all this stuff from Instagram and Facebook, and it's all just a bunch of hocus pocus BS. But you do make some some genuine connections out there, and I've met a lot of great people and even better photographers. People way better than me, and it's been nice to be part of such a neat and unique community. And once you get your rapport built up and you people start trusting you and believing in you, then they share more information and maybe some hidden spots or tips or tricks or where to find an owl. And then the community becomes very tight when you can be out there and now you can give back and be part of that. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree entirely. I mean, when I was first started getting into photography, I'd have the same thing. People would message me and say, "Hey, I saw you went down this trail or you were in this area. Did you happen to check out this over here? I used to go there when I was a kid." And it's like, "Hey, no, I didn't even know that was there, but I'm going to go check it out." And then as you build those experiences in the field, yeah, other people reach out and they ask, "Hey, can you share what this place is or where this place is?" And, going back to our previous point of sharing locations, like I will share with some people, of course, people I know will appreciate it and respect it. But being a resource and being able to give back, kind of turn around and help the next person up, that's one of the best parts. It really
It
is.
it certainly is, and I mean, we touched on this before, but just teaching other people who have a genuine love and a genuine desire to learn and to get out there and to watch them succeed is just it's very special. It's
It
very
is.
neat.
I love that. I love that. I've taught people over the years and people have taught me over the years. And even today, I still buy tutorials online. I still buy, if there's a seminar that seems interesting, I will sign up for it. Whatever, the learning never stops. And, you know, that's something else that I think people need to be cautious with, how we talked about likes and follows. It's all, none of it is real. So don't fall into the trap of, oh, well, I'm not a professional until I hit 100,000 likes. It's just not the case. But don't also, or I should say, also don't fall into the trap of, well, I've gotten as far as I want to go. I know everything. And the learning, I don't need to learn anything else. Because when I was in college, I kind of hit that point where I was like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to do tutorials. I don't need to do this, that, or the other, whatever. And then I was like, well, maybe I don't know everything. And, you're young. I was 21, 22. I thought I had the world figured out. And then I came to realize there is always something more to learn. Always. Now I'm 37 and I'm like, wow, I am still learning so much every single day.
Right. And see, I didn't start till I was in my 30s. I mean, gosh, it's only been, I'm 45 now and started in 2017. I don't want to do the math, but I was in my 30s somewhere.
Hey, but the thing is too, like I know you and I talked about it before we started recording. It doesn't matter when you start. Just if you're passionate about it, and especially with fall coming up, the best time of year to be out there, just get out and enjoy it. It doesn't matter if you've got your first camera yesterday or you've been shooting for 30 years. Fall is for everybody. This beauty, these experiences, it's for everybody.
And there is so much to see. I mean, between covered bridges and waterfalls, and even poison ivy turns red in the fall. It's pretty. I've made some pretty pictures out of poison ivy. Something so simple. Just try not to think too hard about it and just look at the beauty. And something else I do is, and this comes from just a career working with printers and colors, but just squint your eyes every now and again and blur it out a little bit, and just you'll see the glow and you can see where the light's coming from. You're not distracted by all the details of leaves and bridges, but if you just squint a little bit and make it a little blurry, you'll see right where the light's coming from, and just it really helps me a lot um, to compose a photo when I squint a little bit and to see where the light's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually something that I always thought that maybe it was just me, but I'll do that same thing too, where I squint my eyes and I kind of look for the light rays. And another thing I'll do sometimes is I'll just take out my one of my solid neutral density filters and I'll hold it up in front of me and I look for the lightest area I through the filter and I'm like, okay, well that's the direction of my light. You know, that's I know that I've got really bright rays coming in from the top left or the top right, whatever. And then I know I can start visualizing, okay, well, when I put this on the camera, I'm going to take this long exposure, but those light rays, they're not going to be as pronounced. But when I go into post processing, now I can bring that to life. Now I can accentuate these colors or these light rays or how the light was falling because it's really what it all comes down to is the light. And if you've got great light, it's just going to take an ordinary scene, make it awesome, but you can't fake good light is really what it comes down to. And being able to identify it in the field, that's huge.
That's 100% correct. But I would also don't discredit uh, learning how to edit, you know, to bring your photos to life and to bring your vision to life. We touched on this a little bit before, um, but sometimes you can't get out when the light's right. You know, you've got kids, I got a daughter. Sometimes you just can't get out. You have to make do with what you got. And, you know, you can, through editing, you can bring your vision to life. It doesn't mean you have to fake it, but you can alter it to make it more than just a documentary photograph. You can create your vision, you can create art with the power of editing. And I don't see it any different as Bob Ross, you know, on his canvas, creating a beautiful landscape of mountains or any number of wonderful landscapes that he painted. But we have the power to do that too, to bring our vision to life.
Exactly. That's one of the big things is don't be afraid to be an artist. Don't be scared to let your artistic vision guide you. Because you and I talked before the episode, and same thing that we're talking about here. Sometimes, at least in my experience, there is going to come a point where you walk upon a scene and you see it, but like you said, maybe the light's not just right, or maybe things aren't perfect. Now, I'm not saying to go in and use AI and make it perfect or just make a full AI image, but using different tools, radial filters, linear gradients, luminosity masks. There's so many different approaches to editing and bringing your vision to life. And I think that really ties back into, never stop learning, experiment, just play around. You can find out all kinds of cool stuff.
You're 100% correct on that. I had a photo teacher several years ago. I took a class with a lady, and she said, I'd rather be lucky than good. She's like, I'll take luck any day of the week. And I really thought about that. And it's something that in my style of shooting, I told you I'm more of a run and gun guy than really setting up and sitting and waiting for the right light. I just, man, I'm like a bull in a china shop. I just run out there because I got limited time. And so I've always been really lucky. And I've wanted to try to learn better and learn to see light better. And just a few months ago, I started picking up landscape painting. So I've been like painting on a canvas here to learn, and it's been such an experience because you have to know where the light comes from. Like you have to paint the light. God's not up there painting it for you, like he does in a photograph. But this, like you get to choose. And it's been a very interesting study to learn the how light affects an image, because it affects it with every single brushstroke of a painting. And it has really made me a better photographer the last couple months, understanding how light affects a scene.
Yeah. It's all about the light. It's really the quote unquote secret of photography is it's just all about the light, the quality, the direction, the feel, the temperature. And once you start really thinking about those things as you're out there, it in my experience anyways, it opens so many doors creatively and just, you know, seeing opportunities where other people might see challenges. Having that knowledge, that's huge.
Yeah, there's a book. It's over on my end table that I read quite often. It's called Science. It's I forget the name exactly, but it's Light, Science, and Magic, and it's a photography book, but it teaches you the light and the science and the magic and the way those three come together to make a great image. And that's been instrumental for me as well. It's really helped me out a lot.
And I'll have to put that in the links in the links in the show notes too, because I haven't read that one. And I know you guys listening can't see us, but there's a huge like wall of books behind me here that you know, I'm always buying books. I'm always reading the same thing, you know, just getting other people's perspectives. And if you can take even just a little piece of knowledge from something somewhere, if it translates into a better experience in the field, that's a win.
Yep. And YouTube has been instrumental for me. I'm self-taught photographer. I mean, I took a couple classes at the local camera store. After I got going, I took one in how to sell your photos and another one on real estate photography. But other than that, I'm self-taught off of YouTube and books. I mean, the knowledge is out there. You just need to go get it.
Yeah. Yeah. YouTube, books, tutorials, just, you know, something that I've touched on in a few different episodes, going out and shooting with other photographers and seeing how other people approach things. That's been one of my biggest learnings. And don't think you've got to go out and shoot with like the world's top pro, because I've learned things from people that are quite literally just starting. As an educator, I've learned things from people that are just starting in their approach. And I'm like, huh, why did I never think of that? You know?
Yeah. Yep. That is very true.
Yeah. It's like, you know, you can learn something from everybody and you can teach people the same, you know, just getting together and shooting with other photographers, other people that have similar passions, interests. That's huge. And, you know, especially with fall right around the corner, I promise you will find at least one person somewhere that is willing to go and adventure with you.
Because, yeah. And as photographers, like this is our greatest time of the year. I mean, this is Christmas for us coming up. So, you know, we love to talk about it. We love to be out in it. We love to be immersed in the color. And if you see somebody out there that's taking pictures, don't hesitate to stop and ask questions, because I will almost guarantee you that they'll love talking about it as much as you love learning about it.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. I tell people all the time, hey, you see me out there, say hi. I promise I don't bite. I mean, I might have snacks to offer you, but I'll definitely hang out with you at least.
Yeah. I've been wanting to get a shirt made that just had a QR code on the back to, you know, to my website or whatever. It just says, follow me. Hoping that might get more people to engage and to not be afraid to talk and ask questions.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you know, just a couple episodes ago, I was talking about the same thing where, you know, one of the best parts about fall is, like you said, it's Christmas for us photographers. We're all going to be out. We're all going to be meeting and mingling and, hey, what are you shooting? Hey, I went down this trail. Hey, I saw this waterfall, whatever. And the relationships that you build from this time of the year, just I don't think I don't think it gets much better as a photographer.
I agree 100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the journey and keep an open mind, man.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as advice for any listeners planning their fall color adventure to Indiana or people with interest in some of the places you mentioned, what's some advice that you would give them if somebody has just one weekend to get through Indiana? What are some places that you think they should check out?
In just one weekend?
I know it's tight, but
Oh my goodness. Um, I have a whole list of places here, but you couldn't do it all in one weekend. For one weekend, Park County, Indiana. That's the covered bridge capital of the world, man, and it is just gorgeous down there. Um, you know, thousands of years ago, when we were covered in the glaciers, they stopped just south of Indianapolis. So when you get down in that area, it's hilly and it's beautiful. The trees are amazing, the landscapes are amazing, and obviously you're going to get running water and streams with a bridge. So you get the best of everything with all the covered bridges, and everybody loves that red barn color that most of them are painted. And if you had one weekend, I would say look up the covered bridges and look up the nature preserves that are available in Indiana or any other state, because those are hidden gems that a lot of people don't utilize or look at. Everybody goes to the state parks and the city parks, and yes, they're great. Yes, Turkey Run is absolutely amazing, but everybody goes there. Not very many people go to the nature preserves, and they have a lot to offer.
it's good advice. It's excellent advice to seek out images in the places that are less frequented. You're going to come away with something that's original and it's yours.
Yeah, and I mean, before you go, do a search on Instagram for the location. It's not hard. See what other people are getting, see what's there. If you don't like it, pick a different one.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, within 5 or 10, you'll find something that's going to pique your interest, and there won't be many people there at all.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think that that same can be said about really everywhere across the country when it comes to fall color is, just keep an open mind, and I feel like that's been the undertone of a lot of what we've talked about is just, keep an open mind and be open to those experiences. Now, outside of a weekend, do you have any favorite places that you want to mention or share with listeners that are specific to Indiana that you think really showcase the beauty of fall color in Indiana?
Oh boy, that's a big one. Man, I got to say, Eagle Creek Park here in Indianapolis, what a gem of a location. Um, Other places in the state, Friendship Gardens up outside of Michigan City in the northern part of the state is absolutely beautiful. Uh, France Park in Logansport, it's an old rock quarry that flooded many, many moons ago. Absolutely gorgeous. Brown County, Park County, um, Madison, Indiana is just amazing right down there on the Ohio River. New Harmony, which is down by Garden of the Gods. So if you're down in that area, visit New Harmony. Those are some of my favorites. I'll stop there before I give away all my
Yeah, don't
spots.
don't give away all your secrets. Don't give them all away. Just the ones you're comfortable sharing, of course.
Oh yeah, those are the big ones, and everybody goes there, but it's for a reason. They're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, whether or not you end up by yourself out in nature or in a crowd, just really like we've talked about the experience. Embrace that experience first and
Yep,
everything else is going to flow naturally.
yep, I agree 100%.
Yeah. Well, share with the listeners here, your social links, where people can find you, your website, and how people can check out some of your prints and some of your work.
Well, my website is just my name, www.kyledoles.com. You can find me on Facebook at Kyle Doles Photography, and you can find me on Instagram at Kyle Doles. It's all pretty simple.
Good deal. I'll include all those links in the show notes below so that everybody listening can go and check out your work, give you a follow. And Kyle, I just want to say thanks again for jumping on, man. It's been an awesome discussion.
I agree, man. Thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Another huge thank you to Kyle for joining us and sharing so much about his passion for Indiana landscapes and the incredible experiences that really come with fall in the Great Lakes region. Next week, we are going to be joined by Douglas Jones as we explore fall colors in Wisconsin. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell on your preferred podcast platform to receive episode release notifications. I thank you all for listening and for your continued support of the show. If you would like to contribute financially, please check out the Patreon in the show notes below. Until next time, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Take care, everybody.